In the beginning, there was God. The earth was empty and dark. God looked over the surface of the world. It was time for something to happen.
Let there be light.
And the earth became light.
I shall call the light day and the darkness night.
And so there had been darkness and then light. And that was the world's very first day. Now, God was just getting started. The next thing to do was to make the sky above the world and to fill the sky with clouds. And that was the second day of the world. On the third day, God separated the water from the dry land. God made all kinds of things to put on the land. There were rocks and mountains, valleys, deserts, and beaches. There were big islands and little islands. There were oceans and seas, rivers and lakes. But there was still more to come on the third day, because God wasn't done yet. It was time to make all the plants. God made tall trees and short bushes, vines, ferns, leaves, and flowers. God gave all the flowers a different size, color, shape, and smell. And all the grasses and plants and trees that make seeds and fruits were made on the third day too. On the fourth day, God made a brilliant light in the sky called the sun to light up the day, and a silvery one called the moon to add some light to the nighttime. And as a special touch, God added billions of twinkling stars to the night. On the fifth day, God made some creatures to live in this beautiful world. There were birds, and more birds, and more birds. And in the rivers and oceans and seas and lakes, God made fish. And the oceans were full of all sorts of amazing creatures. that was the end of the 5th day. But there was still a lot more for God to do. On the 6th day, it was time to make the rest of the animals. There were so many animals to make. Big animals, and small animals. There were spotted animals, and horned animals. Every one of God's animals was beautiful. Now, on this 6th day, God did something else that was very important. God created the first man. And that man was called Adam. Then God blew the breath of life right into Adam.
Where am I?
Welcome to the world, Adam.
Who are you?
I am God. Look around you. All the plants of the earth and all their seeds and all their fruits, I give them to you. And all the animals. You have power over them as well. Everything is yours to use, to care for, and protect.
Sit. Sit, please.
God looked over everything and was happy. And on the 7th day, God rested.
It is very good.
Now, God wanted Adam to live in the most wonderful place that could ever be. So God planted a beautiful garden for Adam to live in. It was called the Garden of Eden. God made a great river run through the garden, and then the river split into 4 great rivers. Adam had all the animals for company in the garden.
Whoa. Excuse me. Hey!
Adam's first job was to name all the animals.
This new request from God sounds like it's quite a job. I'm going to be as busy as a bee. I've got to search my brain and come up with a name for every living, breathing thing I see. You with the large brown spots, eating from treetops, your neck is the biggest part of you. Twisting round so easily, I believe your name will be Stretchy. Now that's pretty catchy. Or perhaps Giraffe will do. The jungle must belong to one so fierce and strong. I shiver and tremble at your growl. So you with the flowing mane, I give you the kingly name, Rory. No, that fits you poorly. Maybe lion is fine for now. Those flippy flappy things, I think I'll call them wings. And creatures they're attached to will be birds. The redbreast will be robin, ostrich that big odd one. Parrot is the clawed one who repeats all my words. I'd say your fancy shell protects you very well, although it can slow you down a bit. So you with the scaly skin, I name you and all your kin Pokey. Nah, too hokey. Know your word'll be turtle, yeah, just right. The swimmers in the sea will mostly fishes be, with whale and snail and lobster one and all. The orange one is goldfish, cod, the ice cold fish. Tadpole has the bold wish of one day being frog. The way you jump around, you hardly touch the ground, and scamper so fast you're just a blur. So you with the cottontail, you'll be known on every trail as Hopper. No, that's not Hopper. Oh, I have it, you're rabbit for sure. It's still early in the day, and I'm well on my way to naming every animal I know. Why, there's only 500,000 more to go.
Looks like you've got a dear friend. I'd like to have a friend, too.
There were many animals to name. Adam grew very tired of trying to decide what to call each one. Now, God looked down on Adam sleeping there in the garden, and Adam looked very alone. And God decided that Adam needed a companion, someone to be with. God decided it was time to make another person, so God created woman.
What?
Hello.
Hello. I mean, hi. Shucks.
Where am I?
You're in God's garden. The Garden of Eden. It's really nice here. You'll see. These are my friends. This is Monkey, and this is Dog. And this is, I haven't named you yet, have I? Gee, I guess you need a name too, don't you? How do you like Eve?
Oh, it's lovely. Eve. I like it. And I like this place.
Me too. You see, God made this garden for me. I mean, us, to live in. And everything's pretty, and you can eat anything you want, and...
Not quite.
Who was that?
That was God.
Oh.
God's the one who made us.
There is one fruit in all the garden that you may not eat.
There is?
This is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You may eat of anything else in the garden, but you may not eat the fruit from this tree.
Okay, tree of knowledge of good and evil. No eating. Absolutely no eating.
Right. Anything else in the garden is okay, but not that tree.
Definitely not that tree.
Right.
And so Adam and Eve lived very happily in the Garden of Eden. Until one day,
I'm so happy life's a breeze, picking fruit from off the trees. La 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 la.
Howdy.
Oh, you startled me. Hello. What are you called?
Why, I'm a serpent. Nice to meet ya.
Nice to meet you, too.
Nice day, isn't it?
Very nice day.
Nice tree, isn't it?
Very nice tree.
Nice fruit.
I have to go now.
No, you don't. We're just getting to know each other. You don't want to hurt my feelings, do ya?
No.
Good, because I want us to be very good friends. Now, as I was saying, it's nice fruit, isn't it? You can eat it, you know.
Eat what?
You know what I'm talking about. The fruit of this tree. You can eat it.
The fruit of this tree? No, I can't eat that.
Sure you can. It's easy. It tastes great.
We're not allowed to eat that. God said so. God said we'd be in big trouble if we ate that fruit.
Nah, you won't be in trouble. God just doesn't want you to eat the fruit from this tree, because if you eat it, you'll get smart. Like God. What's the matter? Are you a chicken?
I'm not a chicken.
Well then, why not give it a shot? Just one teeny tiny taste. God probably won't even notice. And this fruit, I'm telling you, is incredible.
No, I really can't.
I'll never tell. Try it.
Well, if it won't kill me, and it'll make me smart, maybe just one tiny taste. Sort of a lick, not even a bite, really. Oh, how bad could that be? Wow!
Pretty good, huh?
I've got to tell Adam about this. Adam! Adam! You'll never guess what just happened.
What?
You know the fruit?
Which fruit?
You know, the one we weren't supposed to eat.
What about it? You didn't. Did you?
I did.
Eve, how could you?
Adam, it's great. I want you to try it too. That serpent over there told me all about it. I just took a little bite, that's all.
But Eve will really get it if we eat that fruit.
I didn't get it, did I?
I guess not.
Just take a tiny bite. God's probably not even looking. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know. It was good, but suddenly I feel kind of scared. I just feel so, I don't know, so sort of naked. Good grief! I'm naked!
Yikes! I'm naked too!
That's better.
What were we thinking?
Uh-oh.
I think God's coming.
I think we're in trouble.
Big trouble.
I think we're gonna get it now.
We better hide.
Adam, Eve, what are you doing?
We're, hiding.
Why?
Well, we didn't want you to see us. We did a bad thing. We were scared.
How did you know these things? Did you eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil?
Well, yes, but it was her fault. She talked me into it.
It wasn't my fault. That serpent talked me into it.
I am not happy. You have disobeyed me.
We're sorry.
We're really sorry.
I'm not worried. What can happen to me?
You, serpent, will crawl on your belly and eat dust forever.
No.
You will fear people, and people will fear you. This is your punishment for all time. And you, Adam and Eve, because I trusted you and you disobeyed me, you must leave the garden. Life was easy for you here, but it will not be easy outside. You will have to work hard, and your children will have to work hard. You will know what it means to hurt and suffer pain. Here are some garments to keep you warm after you leave the garden. Now go.
God put an angel with a flaming sword at the entrance to the garden, so Adam and Eve could never go back. But even though Adam and Eve had disobeyed God, even though they had to leave the garden, God still loved them.
I'm sorry, Eve.
I'm sorry too, Adam. I guess we're all alone now.
Not quite alone.
And thus began Adam and Eve's new life outside the garden. From then on, their life was filled with joy and sadness, good things and bad. But even though they could never go back to the garden, God did not abandon Adam and Eve. God always watched over them, wherever they went, forever after.
Chicken and Charlie.
All right then. Are we all agreed that our club campout will be held at Memorial Park and that the cost will be $10 per member for 2 weeks, including food and transportation?
Yeah, that sounds okay with me.
Now, someone will have to see to it that Pumpkin gets the word about our decision. He saw me this afternoon and said he couldn't be here tonight because he had to help his mother take some things over to his aunt's place.
Well, I can tell him.
Okay, Rusty, that'll be your responsibility. Now, are there any other matters that we should consider before we adjourn? Yes, Leo?
I think we should make it a rule that everybody that goes on this campout has to earn his $10 himself.
And just where do you think we'd get the money if we didn't earn it?
Well, I was thinking mainly about Pumpkin. He never has to work, since his mother always gives him all the money he wants. It makes me disgusted to see him get everything handed to him when the rest of us have to earn it.
Yeah, right.
And besides, when we get out to Memorial Park and start roughing it, it's going to have to be every man for himself. We don't want any mama's boy chicken along that the rest of us have to do all the work for.
Who's chicken?
Oh, you know he is.
Oh.
Hey, listen, what are you calling a chicken?
While the members of the boys' club are arguing among themselves, let's take a quick look at the cause of their argument. Punkin. Of course, Punkin wasn't his real name, but because of his fiery red hair and his large round face, everyone has called him Punkin for as long as he could remember. And it wasn't that the other boys didn't like him, for he was always fun to be with and had a good sense of humor. But in his absence, it was finally decided that each member must earn the $10 himself, and it was left to Rusty to tell Punkin of their decision.
Hey, Rusty, wait up!
Hi, Bill. Looks like you got a new water canteen. Getting all set to go camping?
Yeah. Have you, told Punkin about the new rule?
Oh, no, I haven't seen him yet today. And I'm not really looking forward to telling him either.
I know what you mean. He's got a pretty good temper.
Well, it certainly isn't his fault that his dad and uncle were killed in that accident last summer and left him and his mother with all that money.
Yeah. We'd probably take money if it was handed to us on a platter.
Besides, we can be mighty thankful we still have our dads, even if they aren't rich.
Yeah. Hey, look over there. Speak about the Punkin, there he is.
Where?
Coming out of Old Man Winter's grocery store.
Oh, well, I guess now's about as good a time as any to break the news to him.
Well, good luck. I gotta run. See you later.
Big help he is. Leaves me to face him all alone. Hey, Punkin! That's quite a load of groceries you got there.
Oh, hi, Rusty. What are you doing downtown?
Looking for you, I guess.
Me?
Yeah, we had our club meeting last night and decided to go to Memorial Park on our camping trip.
Good. I always enjoy going there.
We figure it'll cost about $10 apiece for the food and transportation and other things.
Well, that's no problem for me. Mom will be glad to give me the $10.
I know. That's just it.
What's just it?
Well, the club passed a new rule last night. Well, at least for this campout.
Oh? What kind of rule?
Well, everyone has to earn the $10. It can't be given to them.
How come? I mean, what's the difference where you get the money? Just so long as you don't steal it.
Well, I guess they wanted to make sure that everyone who goes is able to take care of themselves.
I think they made that lousy rule just to try and keep me from going along. Well, I'll show them. I'll earn more money than any of the rest of you before that camping trip, or my name isn't Punkin Davies.
Punkin turned quickly and walked away, leaving Rusty standing in the street. His round face became a deep shade of red as his temper flared and his anger mounted. But as he continued walking, his anger gave way to determination.
Those fellas, they don't think I can work. Well, I'll show them. I don't know what I can do. I'll find something, some way to earn some money.
And as he approached the next corner, he couldn't help overhearing two men talking.
Yep, wife and I want to drive out to Colorado for a couple of weeks. Been a long time since we had a vacation, and we aren't getting any younger. What we need's a good, dependable boy to stay at the farm while we're gone. But I just don't know where to find one.
Know what you mean, Rudder. Good, dependable boy, a man for that matter, is pretty hard to come by these days.
Yeah, there's really not so much to do this time of year. Just milk the cows and gather the eggs and look after things in general. I'd pay $2 a day for the right boy.
I'm the right boy, sir.
You what? Who are you, anyway? Hey, do you know him, Josh?
Oh, sure, that's old Dan Davies' boy. You remember Dan, don't you?
Of course I do. He was one of the smartest and squarest men I ever met.
Oh, thank you, sir. I thought he was pretty great, too. I think I could take care of your farm while you're gone.
Yeah, but what are you wanting a job for? You certainly don't need the money.
Well, in a way, no. In a way, yes. You see, it's like this. I'm a member of the local boys' camping club. So you see, Mr. Rudder, it's very important to me that I have a chance to earn some money.
Well, I don't know.
You said you needed a boy, didn't you, Mr. Rudder?
Yeah, but...
Well, I really think Punkin Davies here would be dependable. Don't know how much he knows about a farm, though.
Can you milk?
Yes, sir, Well, that is, I could.
Could?
Well, yeah. You see, I used to spend my summers on Uncle Walt's farm. My folks thought it was good for me. I helped with the milking and other things. I could make just about as much foam in the bucket of milk as the hired man.
Well, I don't know.
I'm sure I could learn again easily. Say, how soon are you leaving?
We'd like to get off in a couple of days. Why?
I was thinking, would you give me board if I went home with you tonight and helped around so I could Well, learn the ropes a little before you leave. If I don't suit, you don't have to keep me.
And I guess that sounds fair enough. It's a deal, Pumpkin.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Rudder. You won't be sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
There's one more thing, though.
Yeah, what is it?
It's my mother. I don't know how she'll take to this idea. Would it be too much to ask for you and Mr. Joshua to come along with me while I talk to her? She may want to ask you some questions.
Well, son, since you're going to help me out, I guess I can help you a bit. How about you, Joshua?
Oh, sure, I'll go along. Dan Davies helped me out many a time. Least I can do is help out his boy.
Well, let's get going then. Time's a-wasting. Lead the way, Pumpkin.
Pumpkin took the men to his house for a meeting with his mother. As he suspected, she didn't like the idea at first. But when she saw how much it meant to Pumpkin, and after being assured by the two men that everything would be all right, she consented.
Well, I'm sure you'll get along. But I know I'll worry about you all the time you're gone. With your father dead, you're all I have left. And I certainly don't want anything to happen to you.
I know, Mom. I'll be careful. But this is pretty important to me.
I'm sure everything will be all right, Mrs. Davies. There's nothing to worry about.
There's one more thing I'd like to ask all of you. I don't want any of the other fellas to know where I am or what I'm doing. Put them off somehow. Just don't tell them anything. Mr. Rudder lives 9 miles from here and off the main road, so they won't be likely to run across me unless somebody tells them.
As soon as everything was agreed upon, Pumpkin left with Mr. Rudder for his stay at the farm. That evening, Pumpkin milked 5 of the 11 cows, and by the time he was through, his hands ached like an ulcered tooth. But that was only the beginning of the evening chores. Mr. Rudder next showed him the separator used to separate the cream from the milk.
Yeah, might as well take a turn at the separator, Pumpkin. You'll have to do it by yourself after we leave. Now, you just turn the handle same as you'd crank an auto. That's the way. Fine. Now, when you get done, the wife will show you how to wash the separator.
Boy, you got any cars to be cranked? I think that'd be mighty easy compared to this.
Looks like you're done, Pumpkin. Put the cream and milk in the cooler, and then we have to take the separator all apart, piece by piece, to clean it.
Every last piece of it?
That's right. If it isn't cleaned thoroughly, bacteria will grow and contaminate the milk. Wash every piece in hot water, then rinse it and then scald it.
Looks like there's 11 pieces to that separator. I'm beginning to see that there's a lot of work to do on a farm.
Yeah, that's right. Beginning to wish you hadn't bargained for this job?
No, ma'am. I'm going to stick with it no matter what. It's pretty important.
I can see that.
The next morning, things went a little easier for Pumpkin. The milking was not quite so tiring this time. Later on, Mr. Rudder explained about turning the windmill on.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, but some days the wind doesn't blow, and then you'll have to pump the water by hand to fill the tank. And that's not so easy.
Oh, well, I guess I'll just hope for windy weather all the time you're gone. I imagine 11 cows and 10 horses can drink a lot of water.
You'll think so when you have to pump it by hand. Oh, and another thing. You'd better go round the fence in the big pasture every 2 or 3 days and make sure there's no wires down. You'll find staples and a hammer in the shed. And in your spare time, if you have any, you can work digging this cave. I just got started on it.
Pumpkin was beginning to think that he was going to really be earning his $2 a day. It sounded to him like there was going to be a lot of work to do. Then at the supper table that night...
When are you planning to leave, Mr. Rudder?
Well, we hope to be gone about 4:30 in the morning. Think you're ready to take over?
Well, not really, but I'll do the best I can.
I'm sure you will. I like the way you've taken hold.
Maybe you'll have a chance to catch a chicken thief while we're gone.
A chicken thief?
Yeah, there's been one around here, but nobody's caught him yet. Hasn't bothered us, but if he hears we're gone, he may show up some night.
I think it's pretty low down. Stealing chickens some woman has worked hard to raise.
Well, I guess you're right, but if it's all the same, well, don't you worry about your chickens, Mrs. Rudder. I'll take good care of them.
The Rudders left at 4:30 the next morning, and that day seemed the longest that Pumpkin had ever put in. It seemed to him that there were 3 times as many things to do as when Mr. Rudder was there with him.
There sure are a lot of eggs here. Every one of these 300 hens must have laid an egg today. And I better get busy with them. Don't pack themselves. Some of these eggs are big, and others are small. My mother pays more for large eggs. I wonder.
Forget it. Mrs. Rudder didn't say anything about grading the eggs.
It wouldn't be much extra to grade.
Oh, nonsense. You have a lot of work to do, Pumpkin. Why take the time to separate the large from the small? Besides, you aren't being paid to do extra work.
Do a good job, Pumpkin. Mrs. Rudder will be pleased.
So what if it takes a little more time? I have 24 hours a day. Besides, the large eggs will probably bring more money at the market. I'll keep a record and see how much more they'll bring by grading them and show Mrs. Rudder when she comes back.
When Pumpkin took the eggs and cream to the market, the graded eggs brought 2 cents more a dozen, and the additional amount he got added up to approximately $1.50.
I hope Mrs. Rudder's pleased. That will help pay a good share of my wages.
The next day was a beautiful, warm summer day, but there was no wind.
Oh, them critters must be camels. All the water they drink.
In the afternoon, he walked around the pasture and put staples in the fence where needed.
There. Let's see you get out now.
The following morning was the 4th day since the Rudders had left. Pumpkin awoke at the crack of dawn.
Oh, well, I guess I better get up and get busy. I haven't even touched that root cellar yet. And I'd like to have it all finished when Mr. Rudder gets back as a surprise.
By afternoon, Pumpkin had made considerable progress on the root cellar. The next day, he took the cream and eggs to the market at the county seat again. While there, the sheriff stopped him.
Hello there. Are you the kid staying out the Rudder farm?
Yes, sir, that's me. Is there anything wrong?
No, not especially. Except you'd better be on the lookout for the chicken thief.
Chicken thief? I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, he's been working out in your neighborhood, too.
But what do I do if he comes around?
Well, catch him, naturally. Yeah, well, seriously. If the thief comes around, give me a call. I'll be there quick as I can to help you out.
That night, Pumpkin tried to stay awake listening for the chicken thief. But before long, he dozed off and forgot all about him. The next 2 days went by uneventfully. And then one night, while Pumpkin was milking the normally gentle and ladylike cows, Queen Bess lifted a nimble hind foot and kicked the milk bucket, throwing the contents all over Pumpkin.
Oh, why, of all things, what's wrong with you anyhow, Bess? Rusty Willis, where'd you come from? You're enough to make any self-respecting cow kick. Now you get out of here.
You make me.
All right, I will. Take this.
Hey, no fair throwing things, especially milk stools. Truce. I surrender.
Okay, but where'd you find out where I was?
Over at the county seat.
I suppose you told all the other guys.
Oh, not yet. I haven't told anyone. And I won't if you let me stay all night.
Well, all right. You can stay, but you're gonna have to work.
Fair enough. What should I do first?
There's an egg basket on the back porch. You get it and go gather the eggs and don't miss any. I'll finish milking.
Okay, but where do I look?
In the hen house, of course. And in the hay mow, and the feed boxes, and the straw stack, and in the back of the old car, and most any place else. You just have to look.
After the milking was finished and the eggs gathered, Rusty helped Pumpkin turn the crank on the separator. And since there was again no wind, they had to pump water for the animals. After supper, they worked on the root cellar. When they finally went to bed, they decided to sleep on the porch because it was cooler. Shortly after midnight, Pumpkin was awakened by the rattle of a car.
Where am I? Oh, now I remember. We're at Mr. Rudder's farm. And we're sleeping out on the porch because it's so hot. Hey, how's come that car's coming down the lane with its lights turned off? Now, it's stopping out there under those trees. Wow! Maybe that's the chicken thief the sheriff warned me about. Rusty, wake up. Come on, Rusty, wake up.
Oh, hey, what's the matter?
Oh, shh, be quiet. I think there's a chicken thief here.
Yeah.
That's his car over there under those trees.
Oh, but what are we going to do?
We're going to catch him, that's what.
Oh, but how? Oh, what if he has a gun or something? We might get hurt.
Not if we do it right. Come on, hurry up. Get your clothes on. Listen. Hear the chickens?
Yeah. Hey, now where you going?
To call the sheriff. We'll need his help. Hello, Central. Hello, Central.
Central?
Hello, Central. Get me the sheriff's office, quick.
Just a minute.
Hello? Sheriff Department?
Hello. Hello? This is Pumpkin Davies. I'm staying out at the Rudder farm. The chicken thief is here, getting Mrs. Rudder's chickens right now.
Are you positive?
I sure am. I saw him drive up, and the chickens are squawking their heads off.
I'll hurry right out. I hope he's still there by the time I arrive.
I'll keep him somehow.
Will you be careful now? I'll be there in a few minutes. Goodbye.
Okay, Rusty, we've got work to do. Here, you take this rope, and I'll get Mr. Rudder's rifle. Then we'll go wait for him in the dark shadow of that big maple tree where his car's parked.
The boys waited in the darkness with caps pulled down so the thief couldn't tell how young they were. It seemed like a long time to them, but it was actually only a few minutes later when the thief came back to his car, both hands full of chickens, held head down so they couldn't squawk.
There he comes. Look at that. He must have a dozen chickens in each hand. We'll stop him. Let's go. Drop those chickens and put your hands over your head. No monkey shines now.
Oh, don't shoot! Don't shoot! I got my hands up.
Okay. Now you tie his hands behind his back while I hold this gun on him just in case he tries something foolish. What's your name anyhow? Oh, all right. You don't have to tell us. You can say that for the sheriff.
No, don't call the sheriff. I'll talk. My name's Charlie. Please don't call the sheriff. Just let me go. I'll never come back here again. Oh, seems like I lose at everything. I never have any luck.
The name's Charlie, huh? And turning chicken, aren't you? Well, all your talking won't do you any good, Chicken Charlie. I've already called the sheriff, and he's on his way. He should be here any minute now. Hey, that's a pretty good knot you tied there, Rusty.
Oh, I didn't intend for him to get loose. Oh, look, here comes the sheriff now.
Yeah, I see you got him, boys. That's mighty good work. We've been after him for weeks. I'll take care of him now, Pumpkin. Your job's done. All right, mister, come on, get in the car. You're going back to the office with me. I'll come back later on and get his car. Now, you boys better get back to bed and get some sleep.
Oh, thanks a lot, Sheriff. I'll see you later. And Chicken Charlie, you better not try stealing any more chickens from the Rudder place.
Pumpkin, you were great. Imagine catching a chicken thief.
'Twasn't nothing, really. And the way you tied his hands, that was something else.
Oh, didn't want to take any chances. But, Pumpkin, suppose that gun had gone off while you were poking him in the ribs. Would have been awful to kill a man just for stealing chickens.
Look, it's empty. I used the last shell yesterday morning shooting at a chicken hawk.
It was 4 o'clock the next afternoon when Rusty finally pedaled away on his bike. They had worked on the root cellar for most of the day, and it was near completion. As he rode down the lane, Pumpkin called after him.
If you tell the other fellas where I am, I'll give you a licking like you never had before.
Don't worry about me. You'll be the first to tell them. I hope you make it back in time for our club meeting.
The next couple of days went by quite uneventfully. Every spare minute, Pumpkin worked on the root cellar. He wanted to get it finished before the Rudders returned. On the third day after capturing Chicken Charlie, the Rudders came home. As they walked around the farm to see how things were...
Pumpkin, looks like you did a real good job. Couldn't have done better myself. And that root cellar, I'm sure glad to see that it's finished.
I could tell you were anxious to have it done. That's why I worked so hard to get it finished.
Well, you did a real fine job.
Thank you, Mr. Rudder. Mrs. Rudder, here's the money for the eggs. Did you check my figures?
Yes, but according to this, you got nearly $7 more for the eggs than I usually get. How'd that happen?
Oh, that. Well, you see, I graded the eggs before taking them to town, and I got 2 cents more a dozen for the large ones, and I must say nearly all your chickens lay large eggs.
Frank, I think this boy deserves a bonus for his good work. Just think, he finished your cave, caught a chicken thief, and graded my eggs, so they brought more money.
I agree. What do you say we split that extra money he got for the eggs with him? Give him, say, $3.50 plus his wages, and we'll keep the rest. How about it, Pumpkin? That agreeable?
Oh, agreeable. Oh, Mr. Rudder, that's great.
Pumpkin stayed that night to help out, arriving home the next day in time to attend the club meeting. They were supposed to be planning their camping trip, but they didn't get much business done. Pumpkin's story was too interesting. Rusty had been faithful, and it was not until they all got together that the rest of the boys heard about it.
You stayed out there all by yourself and worked for Mr. Rudder while he was gone?
Sure did.
Guess we'll have to admit you really earned your money then. How much did you get anyhow?
$33.50. He even gave me a bonus.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Oh, I wonder who's at the door. Oh, the sheriff. I wonder who's gonna get it now.
Well, Pumpkin, your mother said I'd find you here.
But I don't understand, Sheriff.
You will. My friend, Mr. Caldwell here, will explain everything.
You're Charles Davies.
That's right. My friends call me Pumpkin.
Glad to meet you, Pumpkin. I have a slip of paper for you.
Thanks.
Read it.
Pay to the order of Charles Davies the sum of $50. $50? Wow.
The County Poultry Association offered that reward for catching this thief. He's stolen many hundreds of dollars worth of chickens. So you've earned the $50. That was good work. Mighty good work.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Thank you.
Say, Pumpkin, you ought to give me a couple of dollars. I helped you a whole day.
You're not getting $2 of mine.
Why not?
Because you're getting $27, that's why.
Wow.
You helped catch the thief, so we'll split the reward, okay? And then you get $2 for the day you helped.
You really mean it? Man, that's great.
Yeah, sure is.
Hey, Pumpkin, I'm really glad you're going camping with us. I'll have to admit that crazy rule was my idea. I had you pegged as a chicken, but you're not. Guess that shows you can't always judge a person from outward appearance.
Hello, boys and girls, moms and dads, everyone. This is Aunt Carol. Welcome. I'm so glad you're listening because my story today is the first of a two-part series on one of my favorite American heroes. Perhaps you can guess who that is. Here's a clue. What do these next words make you think of? Mutsus, Brayburns, and Fujis. If they don't sound familiar, what about Jonathans, Macintoshes, Granny Smiths, or Golden Delicious? Right, they're all types of apples, and I like them all, don't you? Did you know that there was a time when apples weren't as commonly available as they are now? Well, it's true, but it's thanks to the hero of today's story that apples are now grown all across the United States. Have you guessed who he is yet? Well, some yes, and the rest of you give up? All right, then. It's time to tell you his story. I call it Johnny Appleseed. 200 years ago, civilization stopped at the Ohio River. The dark forest that covered the land west of the river was the home for wild boars and wolves. Small animals scurried in the underbrush, and the songs of thousands of birds filled the air. Indians were there too, Senecas, Hurons, Delawares, and the warlike Mingos. Hidden by the thick forest, the Indians watched silently as white men in their heavy wagons entered their lands.
Ha! Get up there, Prince. You lady, pull girl.
Dear, shouldn't we be almost there? No, I declare this bumping and jouncing will scramble all my innards.
This isn't Massachusetts, Jessie. You're in the wilds of Ohio now. You better get used to it.
Mama's right. We should have reached that little town by now, Papa. I don't think I can stand another day of this terrible trail.
The flatboat captain who floated us down the river to Marietta said Mansfield was a 6-day trip down this road. My darling daughter, this is the 6th day.
Well then, where is the town?
Nathan has gone up that hill ahead of us for a look-see. He should be back by now.
Here he comes now, running and waving his arms like a crazy person. Boys, they never grow up.
Whoa, Prince. Back, lady. What'd you see, son?
Pa! We're there! Mansfield's in the flat valley, just over the hill. We made it! We made it!
The year was 1813. Mansfield, Ohio was a cluster of rough-hewn cabins around a central square. A sturdy blockhouse sat in the middle of the square. Off to one side was a large cabin that served the town as tavern and meeting place. It was in front of this structure that Dr. Worth pulled his team to a stop.
Whoa there, lady. Settle down, Prince. Well, here we are, Jessie. A new home and a new start.
Well, how do? I'm Captain Jim Cunningham. Can I help you folks?
You're just the man I hope to see. I'm Dr. David Worth. I believe that Judge Wilkinson wrote you a letter concerning my credentials.
Indeed he did, Doctor, and most welcome, sir. Our little village is growing. We have 152 residents in town and nearly that many people on farms close by. We really need a doctor.
Pa, can Claire and I go for a look around the village?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, it's safe enough if they don't stray too far into the woods. The war with the British hasn't bothered us much here in Ohio. I hear that Pontiac is stirring up his people near Fort Detroit, but we've never had any trouble with the Indians at Greentown.
Greentown? What is that?
Oh, it's a sizable Indian town, about 10-12 miles from here. They're Delawares. Their chief is called Corn Planter. They've always been very friendly, but as you can see, we've built a blockhouse just in case.
All right, children, you can go exploring, but stay close.
Nathan, I'll need your help to unload the wagon.
You'll have all the help you need, Doctor. Folks are coming round to meet you already. Now, we've raised a good-sized cabin for your use with an office attached. You and your family will be quite comfortable in it, I'm sure. Folks, I want you to say howdy to Dr. Worth and his family.
This is a real small town. Nothing like Lowminster.
I haven't seen a school or even a church.
Come on. Let's explore a little way into the woods.
I don't know, Nathan. I'm afraid we'll meet a bear or some Indians.
Don't be an old nanny. You heard Captain Cunningham. We'll be safe if we don't go too far. Anyhow, you won't find bears this close to town. But I'm not so sure about Indians.
All right, I'll go exploring in the woods with you. But if you say one more word about Indians, I'll come right back here. We've been walking in these woods for an hour. I'm tired and thirsty. Let's go back now.
All right, in just a few minutes. Stop, Clara. Be real quiet.
What is it? A bear? Indians?
No. See, down by that big spring? A deer's drinking.
Oh, I see him now. How beautiful.
He saw us. He's running off.
It's getting late. We better go back.
All right, the village is this way.
No, it isn't. It's this way. I remember that big tree with the red leaves.
But there's a tree over there, and it has red leaves too. Clara, I think we're lost.
Oh, they'll never find us. We'll be eaten by bears. What can we do, Nathan?
What was that?
Oh, Nathan!
Nathan put his arm protectively around his terrified sister, and with eyes that were as large as saucers, the two children stared at the bushes. Suddenly, an animal broke through the tangle of underbrush and stalked toward the children, its eyes glowing red in the fading light.
What is it, Nathan? A big dog?
No, Clara, it's a wolf. Be very still while I bend down for this big stick. If he comes any closer, I'll try to hit him with this stick. And you run as fast as you can.
Look at his teeth. I'm so scared. I won't be able to run.
Yes, you will. Get ready. He's gonna spring.
Lupus, down, you bad boy.
Are you trying to scare these young'uns out of 10 years' growth? Come here, you imp.
A man stepped into the clearing and the wolf ran to him, his tail wagging. Laughing, the man bent and scratched the huge beast behind the ears. He was a slender man of medium height. His pants were hacked off raggedly at the knees and were held up by a rope belt. Tucked under the rope was a thick Bible. A leather hat with a floppy brim framed a thin, smiling face. A linsey-woolsey shirt laced with leather thongs at the throat completed his costume. He wore no shoes.
Don't worry, young'uns. Lupus won't hurt you. Neither will John Chapman at your service. Young sir and miss, how can I help you?
Well, I think we're lost, Mr. Chapman. Will you show us the way back to Mansfield?
Oh, Mr. Chapman, we'd be ever so grateful if you would.
Mansfield, you say? Why, that's just a hop, skip away. Come along, I'll take you there. One thing, though, I grow a mite uncomfortable when anyone calls me Mr. Chapman. Folks hereabout call me Johnny Appleseed, and I'd feel a great deal better if you did, too.
Why do people call you Johnny Appleseed? That seems like a strange name.
Because of what I do for a living. By occupation, I'm a gatherer and planter of apple seeds.
I've heard of you. All the way from Marietta, we pass fine apple orchards. A farmer told us a man named John planted seedlings and sold them to the farmers.
Yep, that's who I am. For a fippenny bit, you can have a seedling that'll grow into a fine, strong apple tree. Well, here's the town.
There's our wagon near that big cabin. Papa and a man are unloading Mama's spinet. Come on, Johnny, and meet our folks.
James, be careful now with that spinet. Mrs. Hedges, thank you for bringing over the bowl of stew. It will be the first civilized meal we've had since leaving Pittsburgh. Oh, I do hate cooking over a campfire.
My pleasure, Mrs. Worth. I know firsthand how tiring that terrible trail can be. My, a real spinet. It'll be nice to hear music on something other than a fiddle and a juice harp.
Mama, Papa, this is Mr. Chapman, Johnny Appleseed. We were lost in the woods, and he helped us out and...
The young'uns weren't really lost. I'm honored to meet you, sir. Ma'am. Hello, Mrs. Hedges.
How do, Johnny? What brings you to town?
I got some news for Captain Jim. Things are coming to a head up at Fort Detroit. The Indians there are being riled up by the English. Pontiac and his brother, the Prophet, are about ready to take their braves out on the war trail. General Crooks is going to move his army up Sandusky way to guard against them. He'll be marching along the Clear Fork and through Mifflin in a day or two.
That sounds bad. But Detroit is a long way from us, and I've been told Indians hereabout are friendly.
So they are. Chief Corn Planter and his tribe of Delawares at Greentown are friends of mine, and of all the settlers around here.
To tell the truth, I'd feel much more safe if they were gone, Johnny. Mark you, we've never had any trouble with Corn Planters people, but in these ugly times, you never know.
My brothers, I ask you be quiet so our white brother, Reverend Copus, speak us.
Thank you, great chief of the Delaware people. Thank you, Captain Pipe of the Mingo and Chief Gray Eyes of the Hurons for coming to hear the words of the white war chief, General Robert Crooks.
I know your General Crooks. He come with long knife warriors drive us from our lands.
No, not so, Captain Pipe. Now hear me out. In order to ensure your safety, General Crooks asks you to move away from Greentown to a safe place in the west. Wait! Hear what I have to say. As you know, there's war between our white father in Washington and the King of the British. Many long knives will march along the trails near Greentown to do battle. Our Indian brothers will be wise to move away before this happens.
If we leave, what happened to village and crops we planted?
General Crooks has given his word that everything will be left untouched until you return after the war has ended.
Ha! I take General Crooks' word for nothing. I say we stay, protect what ours.
Please, brothers, please. listen to Copas. For many years we live in peace with our white neighbors. Copas, our friend, he never lied us.
Copas, good man. It General Crooks I not trust.
Then, if you will not take the word of General Crooks, I give you mine. I promise that your village will be safe while you're away.
All right, Copas. We trust you. We go.
Major, pass the order to halt. We'll make camp here for the night near this river. What is it called?
The river's called the Clear Fork, General Crooks. It is a main tributary of the Muskingum. With your permission, sir.
Company! Halt!
After the men have pitched camp, Major, order a detail to see if there are any fish in this river. I would dearly like a plate of trout for dinner.
Yes, sir. Will that be all, sir?
That's all, Major. Carry on.
Huh. I joined the army to fight the limeys and them scalping Injuns. I didn't figure I'd be a flunky catching fish for the general's dinner.
Don't worry, Willie. You'll get your belly full of Injuns soon enough. In the meantime, I kind of like this duty.
Well, Willie's right, Corporal. We all joined up to protect our families from them red devils.
When was the last time Injuns bothered your folks back in Pennsylvania, Tom? Never. That's when.
Well, just the same, I plain don't like them.
Quit your belly aching, you two. Now, come on. Let's take a walk along the riverbank a little further.
Look yonder, Corporal. That looks like a town.
It is a town. Indian village. No cooking fires, no dogs barking. It looks deserted to me.
Let's go for a look-see.
I don't know. Maybe we better head back to camp. We got plenty of fish for old Crooks's dinner and ourn, too.
You can go back if you're a mind to, but me and Tom, we're going into that village. Maybe we can strike a blow against them savages right here, today.
Yeah, let's burn that village to the ground.
Because of the possible conflict between British and American armies, the Indians of Greentown have been advised for their own safety to leave their village until the danger is past. They were promised their village would not be harmed. A few miles to the west, Corn Planter and his people were just making camp when they saw a column of black, oily smoke rise high into the evening sky.
You see, Corn Planter, your village burning. Your friend Copas lied to us.
You speak truth, Pipe. My heart's sad to know it.
What you do? Become old squaw, continue west, or take vengeance on Copas?
Copas must die. So must all white eyes who take lands from us. Call Gray Eyes. We have war council.
Dawn was just a whisper of red in the sky when Nathan hopped out of bed. His mother was busy at the huge stone fireplace preparing breakfast as he climbed down the ladder from the loft where he and Clara slept.
Top of the morning, Nathan. Sit down at the table and have some of these eggs. Law, it's been a coon's age since we've had fresh eggs.
I don't have time, Ma. Johnny Appleseed said I could go with him to a place called Mifflin. He said to be ready to hike by sunup.
Sit, young man, and eat. You can't go traipsing in the wild woods all day without something in your stomach.
Oh, all right.
I'll get it. It may be my first patient. Oh, Johnny Appleseed. Come in, sir. I understand that you and Nathan are going for a hike today.
That's right, Doctor. We're going to visit one of my nurseries near the Clear Fork. Those eggs smell good, Mrs. Worth.
Well, then, sit right down. Will you have some side pork to go with them?
No, thank you, ma'am. I never eat meat. I will have a slab of that cornbread, though, if you please.
This nursery of yours, is it near that Indian village?
Greentown's just a few miles from my holdings. Oh, don't worry. Corn Planter's a friend. Reminds me, I promised to bring James Copas a few seedlings next time I was out that way. This'll be a good time to do it.
Johnny. Can we start now?
Yep, I'm just about ready. Oh, thank you for breakfast, Mrs. Worth. I'll fetch a few pear and apple seedlings for you when we return.
Nathan and Johnny, followed closely by Lupus, walked along a well-worn trail. Soon they were deep in the forest.
Johnny, do you always go barefoot?
Not always, boy. But why wear out hard to get shoes in the summer when you don't really need them? Why, I've walked so many miles without foot cover that my feet are as tough as buffalo hide.
Maybe I'll take off my shoes, too.
Well, I'd wait a while if I were you. Let your feet get toughened up gradual like.
Look, Johnny, over there in that knotted tree. Ain't that a raccoon?
Yeah, right you are, Nathan. You've got a good eye for the woods. Wait now. Let's see if he'll come to me.
Why, he's coming right to you. He's not afraid at all.
Come on, little fella. Right on my shoulder and poking his nose in my rucksack.
As they continued on their way, Nathan learned more about this shy, gentle man called Johnny Appleseed.
You're from Lowmister, you say? Why, that's where I was born and grew up. Didn't know any Worth family, though. I was the oldest of 12 children. I remember when I was your age, my daddy would tell us stories about when he was in General Washington's army.
Your pa was a soldier?
Yep, he was a Minuteman and fought at Concord Bridge and at Lexington, too.
Willikers! I read all about that in my history book.
After the war, hard times set in, and it was hard to feed all them young'uns. As soon as I was old enough, me and my brother Nat cleared out and come west.
Did you come directly to Ohio, Johnny?
Oh, no, indeed. We traveled on foot across New Jersey and into Pennsylvania. Every now and then we'd find work on a farm for our grub and a place to sleep. Finally, we got to Fort Duquesne, but that time they were calling it Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh? That's where we hired a flatboat to float us and our gear down the Ohio River.
Yep, that's where I started from, too. But instead of a flatboat, I lashed 2 canoes together.
Why'd you do that?
To carry all my apple seeds. You see, I knew that the Ohio Land Company had a bylaw that said every settler had to plant a certain number of apple trees on their claim. But where could they get the seedlings? They couldn't carry them along with them, could they? That's when I got my idea. I went around to the big cider mills near Pittsburgh and collected all the apple seeds I could find. I ended up with more than 12 bushels. Made a big load for my double canoe, I can tell you.
So, you paddled down the Ohio River with all them seeds?
Yep, I landed at Marietta, same as you, and paddled up the rivers. Where I could, I leased good bottom land and started nurseries.
And now you're here. How long will you stay, Johnny?
Till this area gets too full with people, I expect.
How soon will we get to your nursery?
Getting a mite tired, are you? Well, it's been a long walk for a boy. Stop. Listen a bit.
What is it, Johnny?
Be quiet, boy. Just listen. That sounds like an Indian war party, and it's coming from the Copus cabin just over the hill. Stay here and hide behind that big tree while I sneak up for a look-see.
The Copus cabin was located at the bottom of a steep, wooded hill. Cautiously, Johnny made his way to the top of the hill, and with just his eyes showing, looked down into the hollow. A group of 20 or more Delaware braves were attacking the cabin. Suddenly, Johnny heard a noise behind him. He whirled around.
It's just me, Johnny.
I told you to stay put, boy. Now you're here. Keep your head down and be still.
What's happening, Johnny? Are the Greentown Indians attacking the Copus cabin?
That they are, Nathan. Look, there are the soldiers down there. Some of them are dead already. Where are their guns? I'll wager they left them in the cabin while they went to wash in the spring.
What can we do?
Nothing, boy. It's too late to help Copus and them soldiers. See, the Indians are in the cabin already.
I'm scared. I'm really scared.
So am I, Nathan. Now listen to me. Pay attention, I say. You must run back to Mansfield and tell Captain Cunningham what we've seen. The town's got to be warned.
I can't do it, Johnny. I'm too afraid. What if I run into a band of Indians?
You can do it, boy. Watch out for Indians on the trail and run like the wind. Now move, boy, move.
Where will you go?
I've got to warn the farmers. They must take their families to the blockhouse for protection. Now move, boy.
Nathan, his heart pounding, raced back down the trail. The dark forest seemed to close in on him. Suddenly, guttural voices sounded around a bend in the narrow track. Terrified, Nathan dove behind some thick bushes and waited, trembling.
Rest here now. I tell you, Gray Eyes, killing Zimmer and his family only beginning. Already Cornplanter, young braves, attacked liar Copas. If Hurons join us, we strong enough attack village called Mansfield.
The Hurons will join their Mingo brothers in this war.
Good. We join forces with Delaware, attack village 2 days' time. Farmers, not warriors, we defeat quickly.
What about the blockhouse in the center of the village? It is very strong.
Made of wood. We burn down, use fire arrows. What? Little Turtle, look in bushes.
Ha, Pipe. See what I find. White Papoose hear everything you say.
Let go of me! Leave me alone!
Watch out, little turtle, or he will break your legs with his kicks.
Be still, small pony. We decide I'll kill you.
Yes, must die. Hear too much, our plan. He your prisoner, Turtle, you kill. Come, we go meet with Cornplanter.
Now, little white warrior, we'll have pretty yellow scalp. Hang on belt.
The giant Mingo warrior clutched the boy by his arm, the knife poised. Terrified, Nathan watched the blade as it descended slowly, slowly toward his chest.